soul. Dreaming about the good days when you put me first, baby. When you used to call me just to say that you miss me. Don't know how we got here. I shouldn't be standing with a heart that's so heavy. I shouldn't be up with all the weight that I carry. Don't know if it's right, but I'm sticking with you. You're my only vice, I'm dependent on you. Love's for the wicked, I know this shit too well. I talk, you don't listen, still I'm under your spell. I think I'm addicted to feeling bad as hell. I can just let you go. You're the one I wait for, even though I hate. Every time you leave me to my fate. You're the one I'll stay for, though I wanna go. Find somebody better, better for my soul. Better for my soul, yeah, better for my soul. Find somebody better, better for my soul. You're the one I'll stay for, though I wanna go. Find somebody better, better for my soul. Dreaming about the good days when you put me first, baby. When you used to call me just to say that you miss me. Don't know how we got here, but I blame you. And I blame myself just for sticking with you. Love's for the wicked, I know this shit too well. I talk, you don't listen, still I'm under your spell. I think I'm addicted to feeling bad as hell. I can just let you go. You're the one I wait for, even though I hate. Every time you leave me to my fate. You're the one I'll stay for, though I wanna go. Find somebody better, better for my soul. Better for my soul, yeah, better for my soul. Find somebody better, better for my soul. You're the one I'll stay for, though I wanna go. Find somebody better, better for my soul.
Fine down with the Merlot. You know I'm on the line with the sun low. You already know the vibes when I pull up on you. Been looking at the sign like a horoscope. You say you wanna leave, but I know you don't. Talking about you wanna freeze what we got going on. But I'm seeing through the screen what's really going on. I know how you feel, I just need you to wait on me. I wanna do less of this latency. I wanna do less of that wait and see. When I get back to the city, I hate to leave. I know it's up being away from me. Till I put it down, feel like synergy. Swear that your body the remedy. And you won't find nobody that's not me as real as me. It's to infinity. You won't find nobody better. It's to infinity. You won't find nobody better. Wait, it's to infinity.
What up? What up? Hi guys, welcome to another episode of AJAWI TV. I'm AJAWI, your host, right? I'm your host, guys. I just want to say welcome to another episode of AJAWI TV, where we discuss architectural and construction related topics, right? And for today, we'll be talking about why you need an engineer on your construction project, right? Why do you need an engineer? I mean, at the end of the day, are we really in need of an engineer on our project? And how does having an engineer really benefit you as a homeowner? That's what we'll be discussing today. And the reason why I decided to discuss this is because during this week I went on a site, right? I posted it on the channel. Went on a site that I did a design for them, and the homeowner had the intentions of building. He bought the property in order to extend on it, right? Because there's already a house on the property. If I buy a house on it already, I can expand on that house, modify it to get what I want, right? I think that's a really good approach to building your dream home, right? I think that's a really good approach to building your dream home. So I want to say big up to those that have joined me tonight. Gigi, big up yourself. I see you in the comment. Welcome. I want to say thank you for joining me. Remember, no emojis, please. Lenny Beckford, big up yourself. And big up yourself. Remember, no emojis, guys, or the bot will remove them, right? So why do we need an engineer when we are doing construction? If you saw the video this week, you see where when somebody's buy a house, right? You buy a house, there was no design for that house done that was submitted, no drawings was approved. Somebody just built a house, and now they're at a point where they have a property that they want to sell. Maybe they want to move to a different location, whatever the situation is, and because that house did not have any proper planning done, there are multiple things that may be wrong with that particular building. And these are the things that us as homeowners need to think about when we are doing investment in property, right? I want you to understand that. Don't look at your house simply as you building somewhere to sleep. Look at your house as your home, and look at your house as an investment, because it is. For some people, it is the biggest investment they'll ever make, and it will be something that you gift to the next generation, right? I believe as Jamaicans or as black people, we need to be thinking generationally more, right? We need to be thinking generationally more, right? Because again, if you spend the time to invest in something, you don't want it to just waste away, right? So always think generationally when you're doing your construction. Now, what's the first way that let's look at it this way. Why would you go to select an engineer to work on your project, and how does that help you? So the first thing that the engineer does is that he ensures that the building that you are constructing can withstand the different elements, right? And in particular, the loads of these elements. They work with a lot of weight or pressure, right? So when you look at your home, you have to understand that every single thing in your house, in your home, in your building has a weight to it. And the engineer's job is to ensure that that building stands up not only against its own weight, but the weight of the people in it, the furniture, the curtain, the light fixtures, the wiring in the building, everything. The engineer is supposed to design the structure in order for it to stand up and withstand all of that. There's another aspect that he also is designed to withstand, and those are external elements. So you're looking at wind load, right? Wind load. You're looking at gravity. Yes, gravity. Guys, I live so close to the road, like you can't even hear the trucks passing by. But yeah, gravity. Yes, gravity. The engineer designed to withstand gravity. Earthquake, right? Earthquake. The engineer designs your building to withstand earthquake. So if your building is shaking this way, the engineer's job is to ensure that when it shakes at any point in time, he has already designed to combat that, right? So keep that in mind when you are doing your design or construction. Now, he also designs to, like say you're close to the sea, the engineer will design your building to withstand attack from sodium, right? Salt air. Yes, the engineer designs your building to fight against that. So maybe the different steel, the reinforcement in the building has a certain covering, or he selects a particular type of concrete that actually fight against corrosion of the steel within the slab. So you as a regular homeowner who has no intentions of engaging the professionals to do your building, and you're just thinking, hey, I'm going to put some block and steel together, it doesn't work that way, right? It's not just to put block and steel together and you have a house. You want something that will withstand all of these. And keep in mind that whenever a building fails, it is very, devastating. I used to work in an engineer's office. That's the first job that I got when I left school, when I left VTDI, right? First job I got was in an engineer's office. And there's a saying that they have within that office. And the saying goes like this: when a doctor happens to lose a patient, he's losing one patient, or he's killing one person. But when an engineer mess up, him kill multiple people, multiple families are affected, because when a building fail or collapse, it normally take the lives of many people, right? So you as a homeowner, you have to be thinking about these things, because if you don't get the right person, or you don't get the people that are supposed to be involved in your project involved in it, and you just go ahead and build with no concern for structural reinforcement, then it's a problem. Right? It's a problem. So you have to think about these things. Alright? Another thing that you should think about is cost saving. Most of the times when a homeowner come to me and they're like, hey, I want you to do some drawings for me, and I want to know what's the cost to do it. And I will say, there's not just one cost associated with your project. There are multiple costs. So I end up normally telling them that, hey, I need to send you a quotation. I can't just tell you a price out the top of my head like that, because it won't consider all the factors that should be considered when doing a quotation, right? So normally when I tell them, hey, you need an engineer, you're like, why would I need an engineer for my building, right? That's the normal conversation, and I have to try and convince them that you do need an engineer. How will the engineer save you money? Now you're going to have to pay the engineer up front. Now imagine if your building failed, right? You're not in the building, none of your family members are in the building, nobody is hurt, right? You just put up this brand new house, nobody is in it, and it fails, it crumbles, fall down, right? Collapse. You have just lost your investment. All of the money where you spend. Say you spend $50 million to construct this building. If it is that it's not properly designed and it crumbles, then you just lost $50 million. So we can't be penny wise and pound foolish when we are doing construction. There are certain costs that are associated with construction, and we should just plan ahead for them, right? Plan for these costs. All right, plan for these costs. How else does the engineer save you some money? This is another way. When you say you didn't use an engineer, just like the building that I was showing you. Say you didn't use an engineer initially, and you just put rebars where you feel like them to go, you put stiffeners where you feel like them to go, and you're now expanding on your home. The ground floor, because you're going up on top of that, the ground floor will need to support the upper floor, right? And because the building is not properly tied together, if there's lateral movement, because you never really have in-depth thought. Never had any in-depth thought as to where these stiffeners are going to go, what are the reinforcements within these stiffeners, and belt beam and stuff like that, lintels. You just did your thing, right? When you're going to go up, you're now going to have to reinforce the lower floor or the ground floor in order to take the load from the upper floor, right? And if you did not use an engineer, then you're going to have to engage the engineer now to, one, do a structural engineer's report, because it wasn't designed before, so he has to now go in and do a report on that building to come to a conclusion whether the building can take the load off the upper floor. So you're gonna have to spend to do the structural engineer's report, and you're going to also have to spend now to do engineering design for both the ground and the upper floor. So he has to reinforce the lower floor so that it can take the upper floor, and that in and of itself means that you're now going to have to demolish before you add, right? So so you need to think about these things, and don't just build now because you just want to build. Plan ahead. If you know that your end goal is that you want to add upstairs, ask your engineer, your designer, your architectural technologist to consider that before hand, right? To consider that down the road. So you utilize the ground floor. Well, you design the ground floor to take the upper floor in the long run, right? And that will help you to save some money. Another way the engineer will help you to save money is this. So you are designing your house, right? And you have a slab. And you're now putting rebars in that slab. And you just arbitrarily place rebars because of standards or tradition, you know, because the man will work for your building, he work in a construction for an extended period of time, so he's so familiar with it that he just place bars at a certain distance, and that's good. One, is not designed, but also the engineer, based on his calculations, can tell you that, oh, this slab is going to be way too expensive and it's going to blow the budget because I have too much reinforcement in the building, and if I was to reduce the amount of reinforcement, then it would bring back the budget, you know, bring back the building in budget, right? So the engineer does consider that whenever he's doing his design, or at least the engineers that I have worked with or worked under. So when I just left school, I worked with an engineer named Barry Brown, right? Barry Brown Engineering. And one of the things that I saw was that he designed and then he looked at the cost of the building and how his design is going to impact the cost, the building, impact the budget, right? So there are times when he would use mild steel instead of high tensile steel, and then there are times when he will use the high tensile steel because it carry a higher tensile strength, which means that he will use less steel, and in essence reduce the cost of the building a little, right? Even though per ton high tensile steel would be more expensive, but if it is that you're using less and based on the design load, then it would reduce the cost of the construction, right? So that's something to consider. The engineer designs your structure with your budget in mind in order to help you to keep within budget, right? So it's not just for him to design your building not to fall down, he's also designing so that you can actually build, right? Sometimes people have like some certain cantilevers and the engineer would be like, we can't do that, simply because he understands that it's not that he can't design it in most cases, is that in order for him to design that, it's going to be so expensive that the client's budget cannot manage that, right? So always keep these little things in mind, and that is why you need your engineer. So other than the structure, the engineer also design your sewage system, right? Last week I showed you the sizing, the proper sizing of your sewage system, or how to know the different sizing. Well, the engineer does calculations to determine that, right? So say, because last week I told you that there's a ratio, so between 1 to 5, but what if your land is so small and you definitely know that, hey, I'm going to use 4 people going to be in the building. He can do his calculations for that 4 person and just say, okay, bingo, that's it. That's the size that we're using. And then his calculations will go to the parish council, right? So the engineer actually designs your sewage system, right? The sizing of the rebed, the sizing of your septic tank, the sizing of your pit, right? Tile field, all of that. The engineer will design that, and that is how I work within AJAWI Construction. where we have an engineer that focuses mainly on the engineering aspect of it, and then the architects and the architectural technologists focus mainly on the design aspect of the building, the architectural aspect of the building, and both come together to deliver a final product, right? Even though the architect can do some amount of engineering design, right, or the engineer can do some amount of design, I don't. I like to have people specialize and know that, hey, this area is where they are best, and I keep them within that area, right? So those are the benefits that you will get from using your engineer. You get a better building, you get a stronger building, right, that will withstand the different elements. Also, you save money, right? You save money in the long run, and God forbid, if it fails, right? Well, it shouldn't fail, right? They're not designing to fail, but it, he's also there to save lives, right? He's also there to save lives. So always keep that in mind. The other day in Miami, just the other day, a condo collapsed. You'll see it on the channel, right? I showed it in the last video. A condo collapsed, right? And yes, it did kill people. Now, who is going to be blamed? The engineer. The engineer's responsibility is to ensure that that building does not fall down. The architect's responsibility is to ensure that the engineer is there, right? To ensure that the building don't fall down based on his design. So there are a lot of responsibilities that these individuals take on simply by designing somewhere for somebody to occupy, right? So imagine if some shortcut was there. Say the architect decided that, hey, I don't need an engineer on this project, I'm going to do it by myself. What would have happened is the situation, in a situation where the building collapsed, then he's going to be held responsible, right? He's going to be held accountable at the end of the day. So ensure you get somebody who is specialized in engineering to do your structural engineering work on your building. Alright? So that's pretty much it for that. Right? So somebody had asked on the channel about steps, right? Somebody asked about a staircase, and I thought it was a very good question, and I decided to answer it today. And also somebody, I think a potential student, wants to know, how did I get into architecture school? So I'm gonna answer that here as well, right? So for the stairs, you have to understand this. Sorry. For the stairs, you have to understand this. There's a certain height or a certain range that the parish council will approve as it relates to stairs, right? As it relates to stairs. So I say the maximum for residential multifamily, so like an apartment, that the maximum that they normally allow is like, I think 7 inches, 7 to 8 inches. 8 inches is kind of tall, kind of high, so I think it's 7 inches in height that the parish council will allow within a residential, in a multifamily building, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's normally the range that they want you to go to. For single family private dwelling, you're looking at 8 inches. I've seen where they allow 9 inches, but that's kind of tall. That's gonna be rough on your legs going up, right? So keep that in mind. Don't try to get your stair height too tall, because it does affect the occupants of the building, right? You can always check the building code. The building code does have standards in there. That's what it is for. So you consult with the building code to see the maximum height that you are supposed to have within your structure, right? But I normally use a maximum of 8 inches. I don't go over that whenever I'm putting stairs within a building, right? But there are certain things that I want you to keep in mind. Here's the thing. I'm gonna give you a little scenario. So I went into a building the other day, right? Karen and I went into a building. And we saw a lady walking up a stairs, right? She was walking up the stairs. And on the third step, she bucked her toe and almost fall. On the third step. Right? Third step. Right, say big up yourself, big up yourself, big up yourself. Welcome, man. You come late, but can still say you're there. I'm glad to say you're there same way, right? So Karen and I went into the building, right? And the lady was walking up the steps. It was 3 steps she was walking up. And on the third one, she broke her toe and almost dropped. Almost broke her neck. Why? Because the steps have varying heights. Right? The steps has varying heights. So your body, your mind, takes a record of the steps that you're going up, and it tries to repeat that going up, or it anticipates that height going up. And as soon as that height change, the body is already thinking that, hey, this is a constant going up, and then you're gonna end up bucking your toe and possibly falling down. So don't vary the heights of your steps. It's very important. Don't vary. Don't have one step at 9 inches, another at 8, and another at 7 at some point. It will cause problems. When you trip and fall down the stairs, you normally broke something. Right? You normally broke something. And because your mind, the way how your mind is, you will be going up a step, and you already record it in your head what those steps are supposed to be, the length of the steps. So walking up the stairs, and each riser is different, each run is different, is not a good thing. I'll give you an example. Another example, which is a hilarious one. I'm at CSA, Caribbean School of Architecture, and I'm going down the steps, right, with my project, with my design. I did a model and everything, so it was big. The model is big enough, so it's like I can't look ahead of me, and I just have to anticipate the steps going down, right? So I'm walking down the stairs. I went down one flight, right, and at the landing is a rest, guys. So at the landing, I decided to go down the next set now, right? Trip on the step and drop down the whole, like roll down, and everybody there watch me. Right? Everybody there watch me, and I say, this man here, you want have a mental breakdown or something? But no, I was just having a breakdown, as in I roll down the steps. Right? So it's very important not to vary the risers on your steps. Don't do that. Don't do it, because it will cause you to injure yourself or somebody else. Right? Strict reviewer. Big up yourself. Big up yourself. Welcome. So don't vary the heights of your steps. It can cause problem, especially in a commercial building where a lot of people are using the steps, and they are running up these steps sometimes, right? It's not that they are just walking casually up these steps. Sometimes they run up them. So you have to be careful, right? You have to be careful. So don't vary the heights of your steps, please. Alright? So that takes care of that. Consult with the building code, and consult with your building officer at the parish council. They will also tell you once you go there if they will accept something. Usually you should know. You should know, right? Let me see what I'm going. Oh, okay. Yeah, alright. So the other question that was asked on the channel is, how did I get into architecture school, right? So I never started architecture school straight, right? I started, alright, so I went to VTDI, right? I studied architectural drafting and building technology, which is, that's why I'm an architectural technologist. So I went to VTDI to studied architectural drafting and building technology. That's because I did that because I come from a wealthy family, so they weren't able to afford architecture school. So I decided to go do something that will help me to get the necessary experience and generate money in order to go study what I want to study. So it's like a stepping stone, right? Then after that, I applied to the University of Technology. Now mark you, I never had the money to go to architecture school. I never had the money to pay the tuition. I just had it in my head that, hey, I am going to do my degree at the University of Technology. And I applied, and I got through, right? And then I said, boy, I know I'm going to do this, but it have to do. Six hours ahead of Jamaica. Lenny, big up yourself, man. Thank you for staying up with us tonight. I know it must be rough for you. Yeah, so I never started directly because of financial constraints, right? So when I started in actually studying engineering. I started to study engineering because architecture school, it was kind of intimidating to apply because it's not just Jamaican people, it's people across the Caribbean. You have to be like, for you to get into architecture school, you have to consider that, hey, you did extremely well. When I finished school, Caribbean School of Architecture, you are an architectural technologist, not an architect. Or you can be an architect's assistant. So you have different areas that you can go into. Architectural technologist is a protected field where you can register with MCIAT. That's the Chartered Institute of Architectural Technologists. And I cannot say that I'm a chartered architectural technologist, right? I can't say that because then that is a problem. So there are different areas within architecture that you can actually go into. So you can either be an architectural technologist, or you can go towards being a straight architect. The difference is that the architectural technologists cannot do certain size buildings, right? So skyscrapers, high-rise buildings, certain area building, especially in Jamaica. So in Jamaica, technologists cannot do buildings over, or should not be doing buildings over 4,500 square feet unless they partner with an architect. And that is why I have partnered with an architect within my business, right? Yeah, I'm glad I was able to clear that up with the JJ. So as a draftsman now, if you're a draftsman, you can actually go do like a course in AutoCAD, and bingo, you're a draftsman. Because draftsmen really take instructions. They do drafting. So basically, whatever you tell them to draw, they will draw it. Right? That's the difference. Yeah, that's pretty much the difference in my eyes. But for me personally, right now, I am actually working towards becoming an architect. But before that, I'm actually going to become a chartered architectural technologist. So I'm working on becoming a chartered architectural technologist, right? And I want to be the first one in Jamaica, as in registered to be in Jamaica, because the MCIAT is not actually in Jamaica. They're overseas. They're in England, the UK. So I want to be a part of that organization. So, alright. So yeah, that's pretty much for that. But as it relates back to the story about school, right? So I started university as an engineering student, and I never liked it. I never liked it at all, because my passion for architecture was overpowering my passion for engineering. I mean, I worked with engineers for a couple years, well, and they themselves was like, yo, you need to go do engineering. You need to go study engineering, because you know you kind of understand all of these things already, and it would be great for you. Okay. But yeah, I'll get back to those questions in the chat, right? So yeah, I started as an engineer, and I found myself in engineering classes, designing. Like the lecturer would be there talking, and I had no interest in what he was saying. Like, to do calculations and calculating loads and slabs and all of them something there, and I'm like in the class and I'm there sketching. The lecturer is talking to me and I'm just there spaced out thinking about designing, or I fall asleep because I'm not interested in what he's saying, right? On the flip side, when I decided that, hey, I'm just gonna follow my passion, right? I'm gonna follow what I'm good at. I design, and I'm just gonna do that. And I applied to CSA, Caribbean School of Architecture, and I got an interview. I got called, right? And they were asking me why do I want to become an architect? I was like, yo, there isn't anything else for me, because if I'm going to do something in another area and it's just not interesting to me, I just don't like it, and if I'm there and I'm doing this still, regardless, then why not just do what I love? And I just stopped engineering school and just say, you know what, I'm gonna do architecture. And then, like, even when I started architecture school, how I know the difference is this. Like, I'll be in design studio and I'm up for days. Like, we're up for days designing, and it never feel like nothing to me. Like, I'm tired. I mean, literally see me tired, you know. Me I drop asleep standing up. and we just dealt with it. Whereas I'm in a class, when I was in engineering class, I just go to the class and I'm going to sleep already. I'm not interested, I'm not hearing nothing what the lecturer has said to me. So that's just the difference. When you love something, just go at that. Do that. If that's what you're good at, just do that. As for how I actually got in, I did my portfolio. I did a sculpture, right? I did a sculpture. It was an outer order sculpture. It was a very outer order sculpture. I did like a figure, a male and a female figure, and the woman and the female figure bend over, and the male figure give her a strong, healthy. Anyways, yeah. Yeah, I did the sculpture out of wires, right? Like I'm twine up the wire, and you literally see the two people have sex, right? And presented that. I also did sketches with my hands. So I did hand drawings. I did architecture, full detailed drawings in my portfolio. I did one set of that. I also did like I did like another sculpture of hands, like used plaster of Paris and just made a hand from it, and the hand was doing something and stuff like that. So it was just me exploring. What else? I did a drawing of a woman. I did a drawing of a woman, but she was in a seated position, but she was crying, and the paper was burning, like the paper burned from one side towards her, and then there are chains on it, so the chains were broken and falling off, but the paper was burning halfway towards her, and she was just sitting there, right, and she was crying. So yeah. No, Terry. Welcome. Big up yourself. First, I'm seeing that name. That's the whole plan. That's why I'm doing it over there. I am actually looking to work overseas, and I do work overseas now. As in, I do work across the Caribbean. So I've done designs for buildings in Anguilla, right? Through an architect, of course. But yeah, that's the whole reason. I always think ahead. I don't just think the now. Right, so I know that I want to be able to work in the UK as an architectural technologist, as an architect. So that's why I'm doing my training, or I'm trying to get qualified there, right? So always thinking ahead. Lenny, how long will it take to become a full-fledged architect? 10 years. 10 years. Yes, 10 years. You do 4 years of architecture school. You're supposed to go after architecture school. You're supposed to do 2 years of. Let me just say a little. 4 plus a year. If you want to, you can do 2 years of practice, right? Internship. Then you do another 2 years of masters. Then you do another 2 years of practice and sitting and preparation for the exam, and then you sit the exam, and you have to pass the exam in order to become a registered architect, right? So 10 years. Or you can just do the 4 years and then go do masters, which is 6, then do 2 years of practice, which is 9. So it's a long process, right? And even after you become an architect, you have to actually do continued learning. So it's not just becoming an architect and that's it. They can actually take away your registration if it is that you don't do the continued learning or the CPD hours, stuff like that. So yeah. But Terry, that's exactly why I am operating the way that I operate. I'm looking at going to the UK to work, or going to, not to work, to do working over there, but to get qualified to be able to get work in that area, and maybe expand AJAWI to there, right? So I have a branch there and a branch here. So when you know I'm ready for doing work, we can link up the people in the UK and Serere, and them link up with me down here, and so it's all a part of the process. Alright, so I don't know how much time my clock on my wall, the battery died dead just yesterday. Alright. Oh, you never went back to school? I'm sorry about that, man. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, it takes a long time to become an architect. So I'm sorry you never get to continue. It's not too late. You're still here. It's never too late. Never too late. Never too late. Go do a course in designing, man. Drafting, architectural drafting and building technology. Alright? Terry, I appreciate that. Is architecture a competitive field in Jamaica? Yes. Yes, you have to find a way to stand out. There are a lot of draftsmen out there. There are a lot of people doing drawings for buildings, and you have to be careful. Sometimes I see buildings that I'm like, yeah, but you just have to look through. But yes, it is a competitive industry. Yeah, that's all I can say. It's a competitive industry. Lenny, he's either. It's never too late, man. It's never too late. Never too late. Yeah, you can go do a 1 year in a drafting, man, part time, and do your thing. At the end of the day, go work with in an architect's office or something. I'm just kidding you. But if it's something that you like, if it's something that you love, it's your passion, why not? I remember when I was at school, there was this guy in my class he was what, 80 something, a 80-year-old man in my class. So trust me, you're not too old. Not too old. Not too old. I'm just looking in the chat, guys. But yeah, that's how I got into architecture, and that's where I'm heading. So what I'm supposed to be doing this semester is finishing, because I've finished CSA basically, right? I've done all my courses in CSA, because you know that university courses are different from architecture courses. So I'm supposed to like clear up some university courses in order to just finish with university. But as it relates to like the Caribbean School of Architecture, I've done all my courses there. Right? So now I'm just clearing up those, and then actually I'm in the process of submitting to the Chartered Institute, and that will, give me a little edge. Right, that's what I do to, work overseas. Alright guys, so I'm not going to stay with you any longer. I want to say thank you to those that left those questions. And Mr. Terry, I want to say big up to you. Big up to you, big up to you, big up to you. I appreciate the fact that you have been a silent what you say, watcher. You've been watching silently, and you decide say you're gonna join the conversation today, and I'm glad that you did that. All right. For let's see, Lenny Beckford, big up yourself. Gigi, big up yourself. Thanks. CB Bar. Where's there? Ricey, big up yourself. One of the guys who have always been here. Guys, as you see, I'm trying to get you more content. Right? I'm trying to get you more content. This week, I was not able to go down to the factory because I had some work that I had to do to pay the bills. Right? Off of pay the bills, though. Off of pay the bills. And especially now that my programs are going to expire, so I have to make sure that I have enough money so that I can pay for them. One thing I must tell people is this: you have to understand something. When an architect or when a technologist like myself, right? I don't know about anybody else. For me, I try to use legitimate programs. Let me tell you something. When a technologist, that's why when people call me and say, "Yo, they want to pay this, they want to pay that," I don't pay them any mind. The program that I use, one of the program that I use, costs $2,450 US for a year subscription. 1 year. That's one program, and I use multiple programs, right, to be able to provide the service that I provide. And a lot of times people come to me and they're like, I don't know what to do in that's, you don't just get up and do it out of thin air. There are different programs that you have to use to do what you need to do, right? And for me, one of the programs that I use cost $2,450 US for a subscription for 1 year, right? For 1 year, and that is why the architects going to charge you, right? Because these programs are not cheap and they're not in Jamaica, right? They're overseas, so they're gonna want to charge you. All right, so keep that in mind whenever you're speaking to your architect. Even your engineers use certain programs to do the necessary calculations, and those programs for subscription takes a lot. All right, so I recall speaking to somebody even this week. AutoCAD isn't cheap. AutoCAD isn't cheap either. There's another cost for that. So AutoCAD is one, Revit is one, Photoshop is one. What else? InDesign, Illustrator, Twinmotion, whichever program you use. These programs cost money, and you as the homeowner, when you go to your architect or designer to do your building, you have to understand that they're going to utilize these programs, and somebody has to pay for them, right? Now, when he pays for that, he's going to charge you for the service that you're using. So don't think that it's just to draw some lines on a paper. That's not what he's doing. There are overheads that he has to take into consideration, and also his training. Yes, Lumion is another one. They're very expensive, guys. Right? They are very expensive. So think about that the next time somebody gives me a call and tell me that, hey, why am I charging you that? I'm charging you that because you want to utilize the service. If you want to utilize the service, you gotta pay. That's so simply. I reach a point where if you tell me, say, you want me to do work for you, and me tell you my price, I'm gonna hear nothing from you after a period of time, I never even bother think about it. To be honest with you, I had a friend called me from overseas the other day and was like, yo, I want to do some work with you. Ray. I have a building out here. I've had it for some time and I want to renovate it and add on to it. And I'm like, alright, cool, no problem. I send them my price and they're like, yo, this is so expensive, man. What's going on? I'm like, that's my price. And they're like, so I don't know what I do. Why you're charging me this? I'm like, I'm not doing it for free. It's not, I don't just get up and draw because I love it like that. Right? I do it because at the end of the day, I want to be able to feed my wife. I want to be able to afford her the best life possible. Right? I want to afford my kids the best life possible. Now you want to make an investment in your home. You are not necessarily tearing up the money. You're investing the money in a house, which will bring you value. Right? This is how you have to think, You're investing in a house that will bring you value. If you invest $100, that $100 will multiply to give you $1,000 once the building is finished. So you're not necessarily throwing away money, and you're not giving me the money. You're investing the money in your house. So you must think of it that way. Now, when I as a person come, when I have nothing to do with your investment, come and me decide, say, I'm going to spend a couple months to design your building and give it to you at a price that you are comfortable with, but makes my life uncomfortable because I'm up in the nights working on your building, right? And remember, the wife, I got uncomfortable because I'm working on something and I'm not paying her attention, right? Not that that's the situation, but I'm just giving an example. Now, at the end of the day, when you make your investment, you're getting a return. But when I come and I volunteer the time, the energy, the effort, I don't get anything in return. That doesn't make sense. This is how I was speaking to her. It doesn't make any sense. So, what are you expecting? Am I going to do it free for you? Am I volunteering? This is your investment. You have to make it. I understand that's how you have to look at it. You are not moving money out of your pocket. That's not what you're doing when you're doing construction. What you're doing is making an investment, and you have to make up your mind whether you're going to do the investment or not. And I always tell people, I rather sit down and not do anything than to work for you and not get paid none at all. Right? I rather sit down and not get paid than to work for you and not get paid. That's just the reality. I'm going to be blunt with you. I'm going to be straight with you. That's how it is. And she was like, yeah, I appreciate you saying that. Right? Of course, she never did the work with me. As yet. I hope that she does. But I have to be very straight with the person, with whoever I'm working with. At the end of the day, I want you to understand that you are making an investment and you have to think along that line. Right? You're making an investment not just for you, but for your kids, for the next generation. Right? You're making that investment, and when you make that investment and make it wisely, then your money will multiply. Because if you build a house for 30 million, you're not going to sell it back for that 30 million. You're going to sell it for 50 million. Right? Which means that you made a $20 million profit. Just an example, guys. Just an example. But think about it. You're not going to walk into the hardware and say, hey, I want this shovel. Right, so easy either. So dating. I mean, go ahead, man. Go ahead. We're all here to link up, We're all here to link up. But yeah, another announcement for you guys. Where my wife to be and I have actually confirmed on our wedding date. Right, I'm telling you guys first because if you stick around to this part of the video, I know say you're one of the real supporters of the channel. I mean, I appreciate you, and that's why I'm going to tell you them things at the end of the video. Because I know so not everybody I go watch it to the end. Right? my wife to be and I have selected our date for our wedding, right? So now we're putting things in place, and we have selected a location. Gigi, so I'm in a closet. I'm in a closet. Okay. But yeah, we've selected a date for our wedding, so yeah. Yeah, it's very frustrating at times, guys. Yeah, I agree with you, Lenny. Sometimes it's frustrating, but yeah, it's a conversation that you have to have, right? If they don't understand it. Thank you. If you check out the other channel, guys, her birthday is on the 20th of this month, and she wants to reach 1,000 subscribers on the channel on Life with Karen Drake. So that's the gift that she wants from you guys, right? For her birthday. But next month is our wedding, right? So yeah, I'm just telling you guys. I'm just telling you guys, right? So we we just finished like marriage counseling and stuff like that, and I'm just, I'm happy. I'm happy. I love her to death. So just set the date and you know the rest. I mean, if you guys want to gift us for our birthday, not for our birthday, for our wedding, let me know. Let me know in the comments if you guys want to support the wedding. But yeah, she's very supportive, guys. She's very supportive. She's always watching the videos. So she's watching now. She's watching now. Best believe. So but again, guys, I'm gonna leave you guys. Wasn't expecting it so soon. Remember, we got engaged for quite a while now. It's just that we never said anything. We were just going through counseling and stuff like that. So we've been engaged for quite some time. Carrie's a stalker. She watching, man. She always watch the channel because I'm a #1 supporter. #1 supporter. Anything. Lenny. No, we're having a private wedding. A private wedding. We have plans, so we're trying not to go overboard with it. CB bar, yeah man, big up yourself. Thanks again. Alright, so guys, remember, Life with Karen J. She just did a video on what she felt about the counseling, right? Marriage counseling. So you can go check that out on that channel. We want to reach 1,000 subscribers on that channel as well. So please make it happen for me. Please make it happen for her as well. Right? Guys, I'm not gonna stay much longer. Tomorrow is a brand new day. I have some work that I'm sorting out. Trust me. Yeah. What you saying? Yeah, pull my leg. Yeah, private way. But we're gonna post the ceremony. We're gonna post it on the other channel, right? So if you guys want to see that, go over to that channel, right? But my day answer me I leave and cancel, and I want to just draw me out. But yeah, you guys will be involved. Don't worry about it, right? Nico Palmer, big up yourself. Thanks for watching, man. And I was saying to the guys that if you make it to this part of the video, I know say you're real #1 subscribers. right? So thank you for being here at this point. Yes, there is a registry. There is a registry. I'll post that on the channel, right? And I'll post that on the other channel as well. There will be a registry that, you know, you guys can do your thing. And I appreciate whoever donate to it. You don't have to, but I know that if you do, you're really looking out for us, right? As I said, both of us have certain plans for ourselves, right? We have certain plans for each other, and we're just working towards them together, right? As youngsters, yeah. I will be posting the registry on the channel, right? So you'll see how you can donate or support us, right? I'm hoping alright, so I booked I hope she don't kill me for this but I booked the honeymoon location. Well, she booked it, right? I allowed her to book it. We've never been there, but here's the thing, we saw a deal and we got that, right? So I'm hoping that I get a project where I can say yeah, but I would love for you guys to, you know, make that happen, right? Gigi na easy, you know. Gigi and Lenny need to just link up, you know. Yeah, Gigi need to just link up. No, sorry, Rice. No, nobody kill me. Rice. Yeah, Rice just need to link up. Sorry about that. But yeah, CB Bar, big up yourself. Thanks for that. But yeah, if it is that you want to donate to the registry, I'm gonna post it on the channel, so don't worry about that. And you know, again, thank you in advance, right? And I appreciate you guys. Alright guys, I'm not gonna stay much longer. For real this time. We're not draw me out no more. Right, we're not draw me out no more. Again, I will send the registry on the channel. Big up yourself. Thank you. You saw how we are doing in the Olympics and all of that, right? So big up yourself, guys. You know, say you're there for you. We love you. Kara and I love you. Thank you for the support, and I'll see you next time. Right? Yeah, and Gigi link already. You know what? Yeah, drive me out to stay, you know. Because this is a conversation. This is a dating. It's like a dating situation going on in this chat room here. I'm gonna full way, man. Good night, guys. Love you all. Thanks for the support, and I'll see you next week. I'll see you during the week, but I'll see you next week, same time, same place.